Hey, fellow Fright Fiends, it's your buddy BoogeyMan Ben. I'm sitting in the parking lot, and I'm just getting ready to go in and see Leigh Whannell's The Wolfman, or Wolfman. I'm a big fan of Leigh Whannell. I love pretty much everything he's done with one exception. I was not a big fan of The Invisible Man, which came out in 2020. It was actually the last movie I saw in the movie theaters before the pandemic. And I had a horrible movie-going experience, and I talked about it when the movie came out on Blu-ray, and I bought it and rewatched it, and a second time, I didn't like it. I haven't revisited it since. That's just over 4 years, almost 5 years since I've watched it. People still praise that film, and people are saying that this new Wolfman is not good. I've seen several people say that it just is underwhelming, and they're saying it's nowhere near as good as The Invisible Man was, which is a movie I didn't care for. So just doing this before I get in to see the movie, and then I will come back with my overview of the film, my spooky screenings, and I hope everyone looks forward to it.
BoogeyMan Ben coming round the bend. Is BoogeyMan Ben? Is BoogeyMan Ben?
Greetings, my fellow Fright Fiends. Thanks so much for dropping by the Horror Zone channel. I hope everyone's doing well. Today's video is a spooky screenings on Leigh Whannell's new film, Wolfman. A man is scratched by a mysterious monster while defending his family. Soon he begins to transform, endangering the people he was trying to protect. Movie stars Julie Garner as Charlotte, Christopher Abbott as Blake, Sam Yeager as Grady, and Matilda Firth as Ginger. The movie was written by Leigh Whannell and Corbett Tuck, and the movie was directed by Leigh Whannell. The film was announced in 2014 and was part of the Dark Universe, a shared cinematic universe centered on the Universal monsters. After the failure of the 2017 The Mummy, Universal shifted its focus to standalone films. The success of Whannell's The Invisible Man in 2020 rekindled Universal's interest in the Monsters franchise. They accepted a pitch by Ryan Gosling, who was also set to star, for a new Wolfman film with Derek Cianfrance to direct. However, Cianfrance left the project in 2023 and Gosling dropped out of the role, remaining as executive producer while Whannell took over as director with a new cast. Principal photography occurred in New Zealand in early 2024. Leigh Whannell revealed that he drew inspiration from David Cronenberg's remake of The Fly when he was crafting his take on this classic werewolf story. He explained what The Fly did that a lot of other practical effects-driven horror movies from that time did not do was bring the tragedy out of these practical effects. It wasn't a joke in The Fly. It was there to illustrate someone who was dying of an illness. I was like, I've got to do that. It's not about being funny, icky, or gory. So yeah, here's my ticket. Went solo and saw it. My wife, unfortunately, is under the weather, so went to see this one by myself. It was actually a great theater experience. People were pretty cool when they came in. At first, there was this couple that came in and they thought they were by themselves, and I said, nope. I said, I'm crashing your rented theater party. And they said, we'll try to keep it down. I said, I'll try not to scream very loud during the scary parts. So we had a good thing going. There was a few people that showed up in the theater. I was surprised how empty it was. I have been hearing buzz that this movie isn't performing like people thought it was going to. I've also seen and heard some negative reviews towards it. And as I said at the opening of this video, where I was in the parking lot ready to go in to see the movie, I was not the biggest fan of The Invisible Man from 2020. If you're going to call the movie The Invisible Man, I kind of want to know what the enemy or the villain is all about, and you really don't know much about Adrian. All you know about him is that he treats his wife horribly. He's a brilliant sociopathic man that has this technology to turn himself invisible, and that's about it. I do feel like a lot of the beats of this film are taken from the 90s film Sleeping with the Enemy with Julia Roberts. It's no disrespect to anybody involved. Everybody in this film brought their A game. Leigh Whannell is a fantastic writer and director, but for some reason this movie just didn't connect with me like I thought it would. Leigh Whannell is somebody I greatly respect, but I didn't know what I was stepping into with this film. I'm a huge werewolf fan. American Werewolf in London will always be my favorite werewolf film. I was 7 years old when I saw that film. It terrified me to my core, and it remains my favorite werewolf film and one of my favorite movies of all time. I also really love Silver Bullet, which is again adapted from Cycle of the Werewolf, another Stephen King story or graphic novel with Bernie Wrightson's amazing artwork. I love The Howling. It's not my favorite, like a lot of people say it's their favorite. Sometimes there's a comparison between, like people say they like, like is American Werewolf better or is The Howling better? And I'm like, no, American Werewolf will always be the best. I also really like a little film called Howl, but that is a great film, and it's a more recent werewolf film that I really love. And of course, who can't say enough great things about the original George Wagner 1941 Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr. That is like that's my favorite Universal monster. I absolutely love the Wolfman, and I really loved Joe Johnston's remake that came out in 2010. A lot of people hated on that. That movie got panned and no one saw it, and it had the amazing effects of Rick Baker doing the makeup, something he had always wanted to do. The one thing about that movie I didn't like was the digital transformation scenes. I thought that was weak, but everything else in that movie I thought was great. It was gory, it was fast-paced, it was violent, had Anthony Hopkins and Benicio del Toro and Emily Blunt and Hugo Weaving. It was fantastic cast, very gothic, and I loved that film. So I didn't know what I was going to get when I stepped into this movie today, and maybe I just have shitty taste, but I really liked Leigh Whannell's Wolfman. I was shocked as it started, and it starts when the main character, the Blake character played by Christopher Abbott, who is absolutely fantastic in the film. It's him and his father hunting. That's how the film kicks off, when he's a little kid. I'm assuming he's about 10, 11 years old at the time, because it jumps ahead 30 years after that opening, sort of where it sets the tone for the film. But I was invested. And I'm a huge fan of Julie Garner. I loved her on Ozark. She was absolutely fantastic. I do have to say that the relationship between her and Blake is sort of, there is a dysfunction going on. He is a stay-at-home dad now. He is a writer. She is a journalist, but she's working and he's not, and he's really bonded with their daughter, Ginger, played by Matilda Firth, who at first it wasn't sure how I was going to like her performance, but I actually really thought she was very good in the movie. And he finds out that his father has passed away, and he's gonna go and to his father's property where he grew up, where he left when he was a young kid, to get his effects and everything. And he suggests that the family go along with him to sort of maybe kindle him and Charlotte's marriage. As they get to the location, there's something in the road. It causes their truck to go off the road. They're driving this giant moving van. Then Blake is attacked by this creature, and they flee to the father's property. And it's from there that the metamorphosis slowly starts. And most of this movie is very much a metamorphosis movie. He is slowly becoming animalistic. Things are starting to change for him. The way he sees things, the way he hears things. I thought it was really well done, and Leigh Whannell did some really cool camera tricks, especially when it's showing just how things are perceived from his wife's point of view and how things are being perceived from him as he's slowly starting to become more animal-like. But yeah, I thought there was some really good moments, some really scary moments. There was some people have said it's not scary. I actually thought there was a couple of really good scary moments. One is really great because it's kind of like where you think you see something and you don't know if it's there, but it is there. That kind of stuff really, I thought, worked really well. And I also thought the score by, I think this is how you say his name, Benjamin Wallfisch. I hope I said it right. He just did Alien Romulus. He did It 1 and It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. His score was great. And the effects in this are good. There's some really kind of stomach-churning scenes where things start to happen. And I'm not going to give anything away, but there's a couple of moments that really are pretty rough. The look of the wolf is different. It is different from what we've seen before, and it's not tied to like a full moon or anything like that. So some of the mythos is not there that we're used to with werewolf films. So that might throw some people off that are expecting that kind of thing. But I actually thought it was refreshing. I mean, we've seen it done to death. It's like, I like when people take chances, take risks. Sometimes risks backfire. Maybe this one is going to backfire for Leigh Whannell, but at least he took a chance and tried something different. And there is the theme of fatherhood in this that I thought was really strong. Again, it worked for me. I had a great time with the film, and I'm so glad I saw it in the movie theater. And I'm curious what other people think about it. Like I said, I love the original Wolfman. American Werewolf in London will always be my favorite, but this is another one I would happily watch again and add it to my werewolf marathon anytime. Let me know what you guys thought. If you've seen the film, down in the comment section below. Would love to hear from everyone. And as always, thanks so much for dropping by the Horror Zone channel. I hope everyone's doing well. Talk to you again real soon. Take it easy. Stay scared as always. Peace. Hey, my fellow Fright Fiends, I just want to thank everyone for supporting BoogeyMan Ben's Horror Zone. If you haven't yet subscribed and you'd like to, please hit the subscribe button down below. Click the bell notification so you're updated every time I drop a new video. I try to drop a video at least once or twice a week. The Horror Zone is a passion of mine, and it really makes me happy that I can share that passion with all of you guys. Thanks so much again for the support, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Take it easy. Stay scared as always.